Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Marnie Hughes. We start with some breaking news out of Texas. Another fugitive is on the run. A murderer so dangerous that just within the last few hours, authorities have added him to the state's top 10 most wanted fugitives list. His name is Gonzalo Lopez. He is serving a life sentence for capital murder and attempted capital murder. Authorities say he assaulted a corrections officer on a bus that was transporting prisoners yesterday, crashed that bus, and then he got away. Authorities are warning people in that area tonight, lock your doors, lock your cars, and stay inside. Some schools even went on lockdown within the last few hours. Senior national correspondent Brian Nenton joining us live in Centerville, Texas tonight with the latest on this manhunt. Brian.
Marnie, this is especially disturbing because this man is so dangerous and because there have been no sightings of him up until now. So many questions about how this could have happened. We are told that he was shackled at his feet and he also had handcuffs on. He somehow managed to get out of both of those. He used some kind of tool to break into the cage where the driver was and managed to take over the bus.
The search for Gonzalo Lopez continues.
In Centerville, Texas, all eyes are on the woods just west of Interstate 75.
12, 13 cars, helicopters, horses, dogs. Sometimes there's been 200-300 people right here.
Seamus Kavanaugh has been watching since this all began Thursday afternoon. He says he figures with this many law enforcement out, Centerville is the safest place in Texas right now. In all, more than 300 law enforcement officers have swarmed this area, and there is now a $15,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of Gonzalo Lopez.
This man is a very dangerous person. If you see him, do not attempt to take him into custody by yourself. Contact 911. Have local law enforcement deal with him. He is someone not to be reckoned with by yourself.
So why are they so concerned about Lopez? Well, not only did he overpower 2 guards in yesterday's escape, his rap sheet includes several extremely violent attacks.
He has a capital murder conviction out of Hidalgo County. He also has an attempted capital murder conviction out of Webb County. He killed a man in 2005 with a pickaxe after kidnapping the man and asking for a ransom for his return.
Of course, the biggest question now is where is the fugitive? But as the investigation into what happened continues, there are other tough questions the Department of Criminal Justice must answer. Can you describe the restraints that he had on in the bus? Was he shackled? And how is it possible that he was able to get out of those?
He was wearing handcuffs. He had handcuffs, leg restraints also. How he got out of them, we do not know.
So he got out of the handcuffs and the leg restraints?
Yeah, he got up into the driver's compartment. Are you aware of what happened?
Yes.
He got up into the driver's compartment. He had nothing on his legs or in his head when he took out across the cow pasture.
And so right now there is a $15,000 reward for any information that could lead to this inmate. They're using horses and they've got dogs out in the woods behind me, and they expect to search all night long. Marnie?
Wow. Brian, do they think that he's still in that area? What indication do they have in terms of evidence where he may be?
They do. They say they have not had any sightings of him, but they believe he is still in this area. They've basically set up a perimeter. When I was driving in along the highway, you could see, every 500 feet or so, there was someone just watching the wood line. They still believe he's somewhere right in the vicinity of this area.
Well, the other thing we keep hearing is how dangerous Gonzalo Lopez is, his criminal history. What more can you share about his past?
I mean, it doesn't get much more dangerous than this. First of all, he was convicted of killing someone with a pickaxe. Imagine how brutal that is. He's also been in trouble before for shooting at deputies. So obviously the officers here on the scene can't take any chances.
All right, standing by. Brian, we'll be talking to you again shortly. Thank you. I want to bring in Robert Hurst now with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to talk more about this fugitive manhunt. Sir, we appreciate you coming on tonight. So give us an update. What's the latest on the search?
Well, let me add to what Brian just told you. The reward is now up to $22,500. An additional $7,500 has been put into the bank by Crime Stoppers here in Texas. So if anybody has information about this man, we need to get him in custody again, Gonzalo Lopez. If anybody's got information about him, there's a $22,500 reward for him.
He is dangerous as they come, Robert. What is your message to the public right now if they come face to face with him?
Do not deal with him by yourself. Contact law enforcement officials. Call 911. Do not engage this man on your own. He is very dangerous. As Brian told you, he killed a man with a pickaxe back in 2005. He also shot at sheriff's deputies in 2004. And now he's injured one of our officers during that takeover of the bus yesterday afternoon. And he's out there somewhere. We are not going to take this lightly. We are going to get him back in custody.
How quickly were you all able to set up a perimeter, and how far does that perimeter extend right now?
Well, we set it up pretty quick after this happened. We were very fortunate that there were law enforcement officers that were already in the area from the Jewett Police Department as well as the Leon County Sheriff's Department. When this incident happened yesterday afternoon, they immediately set up a perimeter along with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. It only took us maybe about 30, 45 minutes to get this perimeter set up. The perimeter goes down Highway 7 out of Centerville, westbound over to Highway 79 to a town called Marquay. And then from Marquay up Highway 79 to a town called Buffalo. And then from Buffalo back down to Centerville on Interstate 45. We have, with the Texas Department of Public Safety, we have shut down Highway 7 going westbound. So any traffic that's coming through here, it's not going to go westbound so that we can maintain this perimeter. Also, if anybody is using Highway 79, we're encouraging the public, please not use Highway 79 if at all possible. It is a major thoroughfare, but we would appreciate it if the public did not use Highway 79 as well. A lot of truck traffic goes up and down Highway 79, so we're just trying to keep that at a minimum. And also Interstate 45, we can't do anything about shutting down I-45, but we are asking the public to please be very aware of what's going on here if they're traveling down I-45 going between Dallas and Houston. Centerville is the halfway point between Dallas and Houston on I-45. So if anybody's using that roadway, that interstate, we're also asking them to please be very aware of what's going on here.
Let's talk more about the escape. Any evidence indicating that he had a plan prior to getting out of those shackles and overtaking the bus driver?
It's part of our ongoing investigation. I can't address that right now. It's still part of the ongoing investigation.
Is there a video camera on that bus that can help as you guys piece together all the clues?
Unfortunately, there is not.
What more can you tell us about?
But unfortunately, let me tell you this: the two officers that were involved yesterday in the situation, Officer Breniger and Officer Smith, those two officers that were on the bus, they are being very cooperative with our investigators, talking about what happened. And let me tell you, these two officers were very heroic in what they did. They were dealt with a very serious situation with this guy that you know what his background is like. Officer Smith was in a physical altercation with him. He tried to get Officer Smith's gun. Officer Smith made sure that he did not get his gun, and Officer Breniger shot at him with his shotgun as well as his pistol as he was fleeing the scene. So the officers were very heroic in making sure that this situation that was already bad did not get worse.
Yeah, no doubt. It could have been much, much worse. What weapon did he use to stab the officer who was driving the bus?
We don't know. We're still trying to determine what it was that he used. It was some type of a sharp object that he used to both get underneath the doorway. He cut out that metal portion of the doorway. Whatever he used to cut that out is also what he used to stab Officer Smith in the left hand and also stab him in the chest.
As part of protocol and procedures before these inmates are loaded up onto a bus, are they searched? Are they strip searched for any possible weapons or anything that they could do something like this?
Yes.
And did that happen?
Yes.
And they found nothing?
At some point, he got some type of an object. We don't know where, but at some point, he got that object that he used to get into the driver's compartment and also to assault Officer Smith.
Are you aware at any point, is he getting help, and does he have any connections to the cartels, given his criminal past with drugs?
I can't address that.
All right. Any other thing you can pass along tonight on the search, the manpower, the people that are out there looking for this dangerous fugitive?
We've got in excess of 300 law enforcement officials here looking for him. It's gone past 24 hours now. And the word that we want to get out to the public is be very aware that this man is very, very dangerous. And if you see him or if you have any indication that he's been on your property, please contact the local law enforcement officials through 911. Be very aware of what's going on here. If anybody lives in this area, we've gotten the word out to them to, please either stay in your home, or if you do leave your home, lock it up good, lock up your vehicles. We don't want anything to happen where he gets into somebody's house and causes a worse situation inside somebody's home, or gets in a vehicle and causes a worse situation, or maybe is even able to get out of the area. We just want to get this guy back in custody.
All right. Well, our best to you and your teams, and we'll be checking back in with you. Robert Hurst with the Texas Department of Justice. Thank you for your time tonight, sir.
You're welcome.
Jack Donson is retired from the Federal Bureau of Prisons, and he is joining us now. Jack, appreciate you coming on. Let's start with this case. You just heard Robert Hurst there describing how this fugitive was able to get out of his shackles and overtake the officer who was driving the bus and get away. What stands out to you about the circumstances here?
Yeah, this is very unusual as far as a bus operation. For somebody to get out of their shackles and overtake the bus is unique, actually. It's as far as like protocols go, he talked about the strip search before they go into the bus. It's not unusual for people to get out of restraints, but I have to assume there might have been a breach of protocol as far as when he got in the bus to have that object to, facilitate the escape of what he did.
Right. Not only to get out of the handcuffs, the shackles, but then to try to get through that door. Typically on a bus like this, I mean, what is the barrier between the inmates and the officers?
Yeah, well, something that struck out to me is that ordinarily, I'm federal, I have a federal career, so we always had a chase vehicle. So it would be unusual for two people to go out with a busload of people and, and do a movement. So there's usually a chase vehicle. So I have to assume this was isolated to the two officers. And, so to me, it's definitely, unusual for him to get out of the restraints, which is not as unusual, but then to have some kind of an object to get to the driver, that's definitely unique.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's almost like we were talking in the newsroom today, the movie Con Air, right? It's reminiscent of that. And we're just glad that more inmates weren't able to get away in the process. Talk about, though, the vulnerabilities in transport, because as soon as you leave the secure prison facility, whatever it might be, and you transport inmates, you open the doors to a lot of different possibilities. So what steps need to be taken, not just in this instant, but every day to make sure things like this don't happen?
Well, you said an important thing is that in a prison environment, everything is very controlled. So like staff, all the protocols, extremely controlled. Once you step out of that controlled environment, obviously, that's where things can happen. Escapes seem to be on the uprise, but from secure environments, they really aren't. So in the transport, it's basically definitely a more challengeable situation once you get out in the community. So obviously, when you have like the Vicky White situations where there's staff corruption, I'm not saying there was a breach of protocol in this case, but, when we talk about the strip search, people don't do thorough strip searches. People cut corners. A strip search is a strip search. Like somebody could actually have an object on their body in an orifice, to be honest with you. And if they're not paying attention to protocols, boom, they're on the bus and they have an object and now they can facilitate an escape.
Well, and it's speculative, but in order to do all that, get the object, in this case, do you need help? I mean, you need somebody who's giving you things, feeding you information, or can you do it on your own?
No, definitely do it on your own. Let's talk about the getting out of the restraints. Throughout my career, people can get out of restraints. It's really not that difficult to get out of restraints. Now getting out of restraints and having the object, now you start to, there's definitely different facets of this, but getting out of restraints it's not unusual or atypical in a prison environment. To be honest with
Really?
you.
That's surprising to me. I mean, then why have them if people can get out? Don't we need a better restraint?
Well, listen, we get into some like micro issues on.
I don't know. When we got a murderer on the run, it doesn't seem too micro to me. It seems very troubling.
No, I'm saying as far as micro, like at the federal level, not only do they have leg irons, handcuffs, they have what's called a black box and a belly chain. So in other words, the state protocols, the local protocols, everybody has their protocols. But at the federal level, aside from, again, leg irons, handcuffs, belly chain, black box, it's difficult in certain circumstances, and I don't know these exact circumstances, but people can get out of restraints.
And we saw it in this case, modern day Houdini. Let's just hope they catch him soon before he hurts anybody. Jack Donson, appreciate you coming on tonight. Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.